Welcome to Borderline Furniture. I'm Mara and this is my Western Cathedral Core flip. So what is Western Cathedral Core? Well, it's a fusion of old world Catholicism and Western glam to create dramatic, sacred, Western Baroque designs. And why is that important? Well, no one's ever combined these two into a named aesthetic before, so you're watching a newly created design element, one that didn't exist until I named it. Just so you know, this is a collaboration video sponsored by the Flippin Bunch, and we're just a bunch of flippin' furniture ladies who present a Wednesday night weekly podcast on all things furniture flippin'. Now, this is a before image of my chest, which has 4 drawers inside and then 2 additional at the bottom. Unlike most of my furniture orphans, this one only had some water damage on the base, which I cut out and easily replaced. These doors are deceptively heavy, and I need to remove the hardware and then these inserts on the front of the door panels because they just don't match my aesthetic. They come off a lot easier than I expected, but there are plenty of leftover holes that need to be filled.
Oh, nice.
I'm using this DAP Premium Wood Filler that I purchased as a grain filler, but as you can see that it spreads really well and I'm happy with the results. 3 ways to guarantee that your paint adheres. First, a thorough cleaning, then the dreaded scuff sanding, but especially important for a slick surface like this one. And then finally, priming. And of course, I'm using my go-to Rust-Oleum spray primer. Not to confuse anyone here, but I did start with red primer and then ended up with black. And now for the paint. I used a leftover mixture of bare chalk paint and scuff defense to create a rich, dark chocolate color. I'm loving this paint application. When it comes to decoupage, I have my own method. I like to use Roman Pro 543, and I prefer the cream version over the paste version. I place my paper, I anchor it with my hand or a wood block, and then working in manageable sections, I mist the area I plan to work first. I apply the wallpaper paste with the least shedding brush that I can find, if such a thing exists. Then I set the paper and work out the air bubbles with the wallpaper tool. And here's a little music while I paint. I had this all prepped for stenciling. It is, after all, the Layered Stenciling Challenge. But I had this even better idea. So let's rewind and I'll show you. Now, pardon the mad scientist experiment area. And I may be cheating a little bit here with the layered paint application versus a stencil, but I think this is so cool and I knew it was the right look for this project. I learned about these products called metallic pastes, and I decided to create my own by mixing joint compound with metallic acrylic paint and chalk paint. The base coat was dry, but the other colors were still wet when I pulled the putty knife over them. I'm thinking this looks pretty amazing. So let me recap showing the actual drawers. I painted the base color and allowed it to dry. I prepped the paint paste by adding joint compound. And I'm guessing the ratio was around 1 part joint compound to 3 or 4 parts of paint. The paint was applied using a damp but not wet sea sponge. While these 2 layers of paint were still wet, I pulled the trowel in one direction to combine the paint for this layered paint look. As the paint was drying, I went around and did some touch-up paint in some areas where I felt it needed a little more green or a little bit more of the bronze color. Wood appliques help tie in the cathedral look. These were purchased on Amazon and they are relatively inexpensive. I painted them the same color as the cabinet and considered touching them up with gold wax, but I was really enjoying the dark look, so I skipped it. Same for the doors. All of the appliques were purchased on Amazon and they really help tie in that goth cathedral look. A little glue tip here. If you find that the glue is seeping out under your applique, you can just use an old brush to mop up the extra glue. The final step in this project is installing the doors. I was careful to mark where the hinges came from so that when the doors attached, I didn't have any issues. I learned this valuable lesson about hinge association when I painted my kitchen cabinets, and I gotta admit, they're still not quite right. So here is my cabinet before, and here is the final look. Thanks for joining me on this Western Cathedral flip. I'm really enjoying this genre, so give me a comment if you'd like to see more. Please check out the playlist, and as always, thanks for watching.